Good everyone, Organizers, we're doing today. It's a review on the TU-2S-59. Obviously, I've done the 44, and obviously you're getting the 59 later. Well, obviously now. Because, well, I thought if I put the two TU-2Ss together, it's just easier. And obviously there's not a lot that differentiates the two, so it's just easier to get them both done in one day, so then you don't have to go, oh, where's the 59? And then obviously it goes from there. So the TU-2S-59 doesn't change a lot from the 44. The only real differences are the four-bladed props, which to some may not make a difference, but it does. And also, one of the 50 cals in the rear has been removed and placed with a B-20E cannon, which basically means turret mounted, as far as I know. Now, to some that may not be much of a difference, but to me, I felt the difference. The four-bladed props seem to make this thing climb a little better, its top speed was a little better. I know it doesn't say it on the stat card if you look at the aircraft, but it felt better to fly overall. And obviously, with it having four-bladed props, the energy retention was a lot better, and the maneuverability actually felt a little bit better as well. So obviously, this aircraft I would consider to be the best TU-2S, but does that mean this is the one I would put a talisman on? Hmm. Now, I think I said I would put a talisman on this one in the 44 review. Personally, though, I think the regular TU-2S would do just fine. This thing's good, but at the same time, the regular TU-2S can fight stuff a lot lower than this. And obviously, the regular TU-2S doesn't have the problem with fighting jets. So, well, I mean, it does, but it's very rare you get to see them. So, just see what you think. Fly all three of them, see which one suits your purpose, and then go from there in terms of a talisman. For the Chinese, they only get the Dash 44, which it's a good plane. And, well, I saw more than my fair share of jets flying that thing. So the TU-2S-59 doesn't really change much in terms of its bomb load. I mean, it's exactly the same. The guns are the same except for the turret, 20mm mount. For the turret, you actually want to go with armor-piercing shells because, well, the actual aircraft, obviously the stock belt is horrible. FIT and HEF. The HE works, the FIT don't. And obviously the HEF and AP belts, even though there's no AP in this belt, um, that is purely, well, at least two-thirds of your bullets will be doing some damage, so there's that positive. But you only get 120 rounds in the cannon, so at least if you get two-thirds of your shells, an armor-piercing incendiary is rather effective on Shavak, because that's basically what the B-20E is. It's basically a Shavak. It's a rechambered 12.7mm machine gun. Obviously, as you can tell, the turret mounted 20mm is quite far down, so this is the one I would actually go with when you get to rank 3 in terms of upgrades. Go with this one, because then you can at least get your turret online. Then after that, go engine and maybe get the 20mm belts. After that, obviously armored targets as usual. But other than that, it really didn't change much, but at the same time, this one felt the best to fly due to the obviously the four-bladed props and everything. Its energy retention felt better, as I mentioned, and just in general, this is definitely the best out of the TU2s. But at the same time, you're still fighting jets, and as fast as this thing may be, you're not outrunning jets. And as you can tell, the teams were absolute garbage. 8 wins out of 28 games to Spade the aircraft. 8 deaths, 11 air kills, 283 ground targets, and 7 landing craft. This was a good Spade, but at the same time, the sheer amount of up tiers with jets was a real concern. And obviously, the fact that some people might actually buy a talisman for this thing, I would personally go with the standard TU-2S, not the 44, the standard one, just the TU-2S. That to me seems to be the best method and seems to be the best aircraft overall, in my personal opinion. But anyway, let's jump in and let's have a look at what I got up to in the aircraft. I was fine with Hairy Feet and Forsaken Shadow in this battle, and again, this is Kalkin Gold, one of my favourite maps for a TU2. If you're in a TU2, you're relatively fast enough to dive in and get out before an enemy aircraft can get to you. Generally, at least. That's not guaranteed. So, for second Shadow, well, I just say Shadow, it's just easier. He did actually request me to publish his reviews, so there you go, mate. However, I need to turn down the sound, otherwise it's going to be a bit loud. And well, TU2s are rather quiet. It's not that, it's Shadow's B25. Yeah, I don't know what this Gauntlet Starlin was doing. He just, I think he was trying to break off his floats or something that on the wings and everything. And there's also a guy who's brought along a H8K3 Premium into this battle, and yet this is a 5-7 game. Hairy Feet is currently flying the P-51K. Shadow's there in his Russian B-25. Now, I have obviously done some testing on the P-51K after Hairy Feet said it flew like shit, and the climb felt a bit shit, but other than that, it wasn't too bad. I mean, it could be better, that's for definite. But even so, we're not here to discuss about the P-51 and its possible nerf. I didn't really feel that much of a difference personally, but hey ho. So as always, the dive performance on these aircraft is really good. Obviously the external bomb load is affecting the aircraft's performance. I did have one guy in an Su-6 try to team kill me because I was faster than him to the ground targets. I quickly left him behind in, obviously, me doing 400 miles an hour and he couldn't even touch half that, it felt like. And yeah, there's a lot of nasty players I noticed when I'm flying this aircraft. The Japanese players were actually more respectful and they were the ones deliberately shooting me because obviously they're enemy and all that. But when you've got an Su-6 trying to team kill you because you're faster than them, yeah, it's not exactly morale boosting, shall we say. So I just dropped one bomb there, and obviously Shadow's going for that same target, and obviously we didn't exactly communicate that. I dropped my bombs, and obviously the Key 84's coming in now, and I have to throw this thing into a hard bank. And you can actually throw this thing around, same with the other TU-2s, rather well. This thing does maneuver very nicely. So after messing up a crap ton of their ground forces, and obviously getting a kill there with the front guns, it turns out the Key 84 is rather wanting to say hello to me, but he makes the mistake of approaching where the 20mm lies. And that's what it can do with AP belts. That's going to be my first and only kill. I think Shadow got the assist on that. But obviously Shadow's now got an aircraft on him, but I think he gets the kill for it, or he gets the assist. I can't remember, but I'm saying to him, look, that rear turret on the B-25 got a buff, so use it wisely. And he's going to do some good damage in that, yet now he's going to finish off that Nicky. And at this point, this is really what I do after I do a bombing run like that. I just start making my way back to base. Same again, if you do get a fuel fire on your wing, it's not always going to go out, but when it does, you will lose the landing gear. And again, it's just annoying because once you lose landing gear, you have to belly land this aircraft. And the tail will snap off and it will count as a death if you can't repair. So, well, most of the time you will repair, so just sit in the aircraft. It should only take about 2 minutes and then you can get back into the action. But obviously, with me being in the TU-2S and obviously I'm not really that damaged, I can afford to just turn around and slow down a bit. And obviously at this point we was waiting because we thought aircraft was bombing the runway. And what we didn't know is that Mr. A7M is actually coming over to try and deal with us. Obviously I was keeping an eye on him at the time, and obviously Shadow was... Well, I would want to get Shadow on the ground first, but at the same time, the TU-2S technically doesn't have as many guns, so it would be much better for me to get on the ground first. So we're just circling, waiting for the enemy bombers to drop their bombs, which they eventually do. But obviously the A7M is not happy with us bombing the living daylights out of their ground targets, so you can sort of understand why. And there goes their bombs, and there goes the B-17 who rips his wings off. Not sure how he did that. I think he just put it in a power dive, because, well, that's what you do in B-17s apparently. If you haven't watched the video on Mark Felton Productions on the Japanese B-17s, they're actually really interesting. Just as a side note. So obviously, I mean, for sake of Shadow can now land. We're cleared to obviously land because all the bombers have done their job on the enemy team, and the fighters are leaving us alone, surprisingly. And obviously, Harry Feet's flying cap around the airfield, so we don't have to worry too much about getting vultured, at least. But obviously, quick and easy repair because I've got a good Russian crew on this thing, and I decided to wait for Shadow, which I accelerate better than him, but even so. So whilst I get us airborne and just easier, Harry Feet is currently, well, he's just shot down an A7. However, the enemy team consists also of another A7, a H8K, a B17, a Key 61, and an A675 Co, which is currently chasing him. Now, the only fighters we have left are Harry in his P51K, and the Ac-9P who's been chasing bombers the whole game. As you can imagine, he's not been very useful. He's been chasing a H8K. Yeah, really useful to the team, buddy. So at this point, obviously, we've got enemy fighters above us, and I'm saying to Shadow, right, follow me. We're gonna do a bit of canyon action here. And if we was recording a Hollywood film, I'm fairly certain this would be a pretty decent, this would be pretty good cinematics of just watching an aircraft just fly between the gaps and everything, fly between trees and everything. But obviously, the TU-2S isn't exactly a looker, so I wouldn't really advise that. I'd do it in a Mustang, but not a TU-2S. But anyway, jokes about films and all that aside, we've got a bit of a problem, as you can probably saw over there. Harry Feet at the moment has just killed the A675, but at the same time there's also an A7M that is currently near some ground targets, so I've got to take Shadow the long route. We're currently heading to the tank convoy just coming out of D2. So that's where we want to go. Obviously, we've got the firepower and the bomb load to level that entire convoy and win us the game. But this is what you're going to have to do sometimes. Because of the sheer amount of Japanese players compared to your actual fighters, because, well, the Russian teams are not great, let's just say that. Yeah, they're not exactly the brightest tools in the shed. So there you can see Harry, obviously, he's got the Key 61 not too far from him, and the A7M is currently returned to base. And there's the Key 61. It's currently chasing down Harry. So we've got to make the decision now of staying low. We do not want to get detected. As good as our guns are, we don't want to take the chance. So we would rather sneak in underneath the enemy fighters and bomb the living shit out of the convoy, because, well, that's more explosion-y. And, well, who doesn't love explosions? So I'm just going to jump us ahead to the actual bit where we get to the convoy and everything. And the 500 kilogram bombs are a bit overkill on these, but who gives a fuck? I mean, no one's going to complain. No such thing as overkill after all. 500 kilogram right next to that pillbox. Kaboom. Nice and easy. It's really easy to dive bomb this aircraft. It's actually astonishingly easy to dive bomb this aircraft. So at this point, we want to deal with a AAA. So, because we know what AAA is like, don't we? We all know it's overpowered as fuck. So obviously I'm throwing the plane around a little bit just to throw off the gunnery. But obviously me and Shadow start working over the... Yeah, that's the sheer amount of AA. We're lucky we didn't get killed. But you can use the gunners on those light tanks if you target a Rio. It's actually pretty handy ability, to be honest. And the Key 61 pilot is going to make a grave mistake that costs him the game. He's going to chase Harry like a retarded dog chasing a truck, because the P51K will outrun him. And me and Shadow are going to end this game. It's like what, well, it's a bit like, I bet that Key 61 pilot was a bit like Seto Kaiba in the very first Yu-Gi-Oh episode. Draw your last pathetic card so I can end this duel, and obviously Yugi pulls out Exodia, which is well, if you never played Yu-Gi-Oh, I'll put it simply. Exodia was a 5-card based instant win condition, basically. And if you had all 5 pieces of Exodia in your hand, you instantly win the duel, no matter what. There was very few ways you could actually counter Exodia, and well, I've had a guy try and use Exodia on me once back when I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh. He lost. I used my old favourite deck, or is it? No, it's Hand Destruction, that's it. It's a very good card. I think it's banned now because of how good it was. You could just delete in every single player's hand. It's great for when you're in a four-way duel, because you could just play Hand Destruction and everyone's hand would just go away. But yeah, and well, the front 20 mils will kill light tanks, so it's a nice easy win. And obviously the Key 61 was coming in, so we was under pressure. We had about 30 seconds and we managed it. So like I say, this aircraft's very good. It's another Russian bomber which is actually good, unlike that freaking Year 2. And it's a nice break from that Year 2, let's just say. And obviously, again, I do recommend Spade in this aircraft. It's very capable, and I really think people should give it a go. But anyway, I'll let you guys off. I'll see you all on the next one.